Hey, welcome to Hanging with the Hammer. It's first time in a while. Roll the intro. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hanging with the Hammer. Don't have anybody on. Didn't expect to see many people. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Talking to the camera deals, other than I've done an Ask Girl Anything this month. So I don't know how many people are going to show up or not show up. I did do a little announcement on it. Anyhow, coming into the month of November 2021, I've been at this almost 5 years now. I started doing this YouTube stuff it says 2006 is when I signed up. I don't think I posted a video until 2011 when I got a Droid phone, and I decided, well, let's try this video thing and play along to it. And yeah, it was probably around 2010. 2010, I got a Droid phone, and I thought, what the heck? Let's give this thing a try. So I did, and wasn't real impressed with what I was doing, and didn't really have to sync the audio thing, and only knew Logic, didn't understand iMovie or any of that stuff. And anyhow, long and the short of it, that's when I started. But I didn't really start in earnest until about end of 2016, beginning of 2017. And at that point, I had like 30 subs, so it was a short thing. Hi, Dirk. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being on. Questions will make the show, of course, at some point. I'll take questions. But right now, I'm talking a little bit about my YouTube experience and how I've gotten to where I'm at this point in time. So anyhow, 2017 was a transition year for me. I was in the middle of a transition with my job, and I was on severance and, starting a new business and blah, 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 and yada, yada. And part of it was trying to start a drum lesson business, which I do teach some drum lessons. Some of you guys have taken lessons from me. I do some Skype lessons or Zoom lessons as they are today. But, in 2017, I was trying to start an in earnest business in town, and it didn't take off. I stayed in my safety training role in business and got work there, and then eventually got a job working for an engineering company that I work for today as safety director, and that's my day gig. But in 2017, something happened because I had so much time. I started making lots of videos, and a few of those videos took off, and some of those videos that took off are still today increasing. Like 5 basic drum grooves for playing in church, or the Jeff Porcaro thing I did on Jeff Porcaro, which I was talking like I talk from my knowledge. The funny thing is, the knowledge base in the last 5 years has just gone through the roof. Everybody's got Google. Everybody's an expert on everything. And I've been wondering why people listen to me talk about drums. So, hey, Bill, nice to have you today, Bill, on. So in 2017, I was a little more bold. Plus, I only had, 100 subscribers at the time I started doing things like talking about people. Actually, I talked about Danny Serafin and John Hammond first. I did them before I had any subscribers, really. It was just kind of me doing it. So I had a lot of fun with that. My wife helped me out and encouraged me to do that. But by 2018, when I grew to like 200 subscribers, and then I grew to 400 subscribers, somebody asked me a question one day, and it became Ask Girl Anything. I decided I was getting so many questions in my videos, why you do this and how do you do that, I thought I'll just do Ask Girl Anything. And I started answering videos, and people started watching. Some of you guys started watching. Dirk and Drum Covers by Bill was a big supporter early on. Good morning, Keith Scott. And I was doing some gear talks too. That was the other thing I would do, drum talk. I did my drum talks on things like Zildjian cymbals and Paiste cymbals and Sabian cymbals and pedals and hi-hats, and I got this thing on little gel clings, as opposed to using moon gel. A lot of you guys watched all that stuff and enjoyed that. But the question thing, Ask Girl Anything, really took off. And The first year I did it almost every week. I was absolutely crazy. I think that's what propelled me to picking up subscribers quickly. Was I got 1,000 subscribers in 6 months just doing that talk show every week. And then by the end of the year, I had, not quite 2,000, but by the next year, I had 2,000 at the same time. It was June of 19. I must have had 2,000 subscribers by then, probably more. And, the ball's been just rolling the last couple of years. But you guys all know some of the heartaches I've been through and things that happened to me over the last 2 years. And somewhere in 19, I said, I can't do this anymore once a week, or even twice a month. And I started doing it once a month. And believe it or not, the last Ask Girl Anything was my 100th show, and I didn't even realize it. I kind of blew right through it. And that's where kind of my head's been at. My head's been kind of like, all right, what am I doing? I got my day gig. I got stuff. I'm still dealing with my loss of my son. And I've kind of had an epiphany in this last month of a few things as I'm approaching 5,000 subscribers. One day I'll have 5,000 subscribers, maybe in a week, maybe in the end of the month, maybe tomorrow. I really don't know. It's inevitable. I keep increasing by almost 100 subscribers a month. So sometime next month I'll get 5,000 subscribers. The point is not the subscribers. The point is the people I've made the relationships with that makes me why I do this every day. So, hey, everybody that's on here, be it Keith Scott and Dirk and Bill and Matthew CCM drummer and Robbie rock drummer. Hey, guy, Robbie, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome, man. Welcome to everybody that's on today. You're the reason why I'm doing this. This past year in 2021, I started doing live streams in March, and I went pretty hard and heavy for a couple months there, right up till about June-ish. And then I was losing steam. And one day I did one of these, I had like 5 people on, and it was like I had nothing to talk about. And I realized I was depleted. So I've backed off. I've been trying to get my head together. I think I've pressed through on a few things in life, and I'm moving forward, and you'll see more of that in the weeks and months and year ahead. My wife and I are in a better place emotionally and physically, and a lot of things. We're really starting to take care of some things that we needed to take care of, and that's what's going on in my life right now. So drum covers, the funny thing was, one of the ways I dealt with my pain over the last couple of years has been by just playing drums on the weekend. I would play ferociously for 2.5 days, pretty much. Friday afternoon, somewhere at work time cut off, I would play for a couple hours, make a cover, then Saturday and Sunday. And I would just bang out covers. And I banged out hundreds of covers. I've got over 1,000 videos out there somewhere. And that's just me just playing whatever I like to play. I would just play and just keep playing it. And I only got 5 covers in the queue now. So the last few weeks I've been kind of refocusing, redirecting myself and getting myself in the right space and centering myself. And I don't know if I'll be releasing drum covers every day anymore. Maybe every other day or every couple days. Depends on how big of a backlog I put in there. But at one point I had a backlog of about 25 songs. I'm just sitting in there waiting to be released. And I got tired of watching my own videos even. At one point, I would make the video, once I got it done, it was finished, and I didn't even want to watch it. So it's been quite a journey. So where am I going? Where are we going forward with this thing? Well, I don't know. 5,000 subscribers doesn't really mean a whole heck of a lot on YouTube anymore. I don't know if 100,000 subscribers means a whole lot on YouTube anymore. YouTube's been around almost 15 years now. So, I mean, there's people with millions and millions of subscribers, and the big boys and the big players of the business are in there now. And YouTube doesn't really give a crap about the drum cover world, that's for sure. And all my friends that make drum covers that are starting out trying to get 100 subscribers, 200 subscribers, and 500 subscribers, I commend all of you on doing it. It's a lot of work. But there's no payoff in this. That's what I'm saying. There's no payoff. I don't see a payoff in this. All I see is this community that we call the drum cover community. And all you guys that are on here listening to me talk, you are the reason why I do this stuff. For you guys. Other people watch me, but you're the guys I'm really playing to, because you're the guys who comment, you're the guys who care. Every once in a while, I'll find a new guy that finds us and drops in. It's wonderful. But my whole goal has been, if you've ever seen my Instagram, it says to help other drummers. I want to help encourage other drummers. That's the same thing here on YouTube. I want to encourage other drummers. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to encourage other drummers and to be a place where people can ask questions freely, a safe space. And I'm just trying to have a lot of fun with it, as much fun as I possibly can. Now, hi, Lori Jones. Welcome, Lori. Glad you made it. Hope you're feeling better, Lori. So with that said, I've been quite busy too with other things this year. This year I've actually been working on a couple three album projects, different album projects for people, playing different songs for people. Last Saturday, not last Saturday, but the Saturday before, I cut a track for a friend of mine. And then last Friday evening, I had a friend come over and we cut another track. So I'm doing stuff. I'm playing. I'd like to be out playing some gigs, but with COVID, I really don't want to be out there, to be honest. But I'd like to be jamming more with real musicians if I can find some real musicians to play with in town and that want to play, But if I don't have that, Extract Stems has been a great help to me. So with that said, that's my little spiel for this morning. You guys got any questions today? I'm glad you're here to hang, but your questions make the show. So whatever you guys want to talk about, because listening to my life is not as much fun as talking to some of the things you guys ask. So let's see if one of you guys come up with a question in the next minute. Otherwise, I'm going to keep rambling, and my rambling will eventually end because I don't know what else to ramble about, because I'm not good about talking about myself that much, believe it or not. Apparently, I do a pretty good job, but I don't really want to talk about myself. Any questions, guys? Have you guys seen some of the other? I guess some of you guys know Bonzolium's back. He took a hiatus this summer. Terry Keating, he's got a live stream tonight. He's giving away a drum for those of you in the United States, I think. So you might want to check out Terry Keating's, show where he's giving away a drum this week. He's talking about doing interviews. I'd like to do interviews. Matthew, CCM drummer, asked me, why don't you try to do some bigger interviews? I reached out to a couple of guys. I haven't got the response. It's funny. I don't really dig in. You know what I mean? So dig in meaning go after it. I'm not like the PR guy. There's guys that can sell, like I can't sell this channel. I ended up getting J.R. Robinson because I took a lesson with him. And then he asked me to do something for him. And I said, sure, I'll do that, but you got to come on and do an interview with me. So it was a freebie, I don't know if guys are paying for interviews. I have no idea what the real world's going on. I see some questions coming in. Thank you so much. Another guy, you want to talk about interviews, look at Matthew, what Matthew's doing. Drumman 190. My gosh, he's got some great players on his show. I don't know how he's done it, but he's got some great players. After I saw Matthew doing it, I was like, how am I going to do this? This is not going to happen. I am a great interviewer. Thank you, Bill, for saying that. I think I do a decent job interviewing people. But I don't know. Terry Keating's talking about interviewing drummers, bringing guys in, like Danny Surfin and stuff. So I'm like, great. If you get Danny Surfin on, I'll watch it. I love watching drummers talk. Well, let's take a few questions and we'll come back. Lori Jones said, and let me put up this question. Let's see if I can do that from here. I'm doing it on my iPad today. Lori Jones said, thank you. What heads do you prefer on your toms? What heads do you prefer on your toms? Well, Lori, right now on this, I'm sitting in my Gretsch kit, my mahogany Gretsch kit. What I'm digging now is ambassadors. And the funny thing is, when I bought this kit in New York City in 1979, it came with ambassadors. But ambassadors didn't sound the same to me as they do today. There's something about ambassadors and the way they record. They sound really good. But they're thinner head, they're medium weight head. And my 10 and my 12 have taken a pretty good beating. But the floor toms sound incredible. The 14 and the 16 really sound nice. Before that, I was using vintage ambassadors, which are like a 2-ply head. One is a 7 mil and one's like 3.5 mil, which I dug those too. Vintage ambassadors are really cool. I was using for years coated emperors, which are 2-ply 7 mil heads. And I just can't. I mean, I like the emperors. And by the way, on my concert tom kit, I've got clear emperors right now, and they sound fantastic too. I go back and forth between kits. So I'll tell you what's on the other kit. The other kit's got clear emperors on the toms. This has got coated ambassadors, and my kit that I'm taking out to church, that I play on my church gig, I've actually got a set of Evans hydraulic heads, 10, 12, 14 Evans hydraulic, and they sound great in that room. I play in one room. It's a big open room. There's no microphones. My projection has to be there, and they have to be dead enough to not kill the room. They sound great there. If I had a head endorsement, I tried all kinds of different heads. I've got a set of pinstripes I'm waiting to put on one of my drum kits. It's really the setup for the little kit, the pinstripes. I haven't put it on the little kit yet. I may put them on this kit, may buy a few more and put them on the just to get something different on this kit. I think pins would kind of sound cool, or pins on the concert tom kit. So, but I'm mostly a Remo guy, but I like Evans heads too. I've played G2s. I've never liked the EC for some reason. I like pins better than the EC2s, EC1s. Of course, I love the Evans EMAD bass drum heads. That's pretty much that's kind of the head I'd really like to use. So right now I got an Evans 56 on this 20-inch bass drum, and it sounds amazing. So all right, let's see what Dirk's got going here. Not blocking any users. I would not block anybody's on my drum, my cover, my stream. What's the latest gear ideas for the near future? My gear ideas? That's interesting. I've been buying stuff this year. I've bought some things this year that I've wanted. I started with a 2002 18-inch crash, which I'd love to have a 19-inch 2002 crash. But I don't need it, so I haven't bought it. I bought a 22-inch 2002 ride this year. Love it. It's totally different than this ride over here, which is my big beat you can't see. This is one of my giant beats over here. I got my 20 over here in front of me. But so I really dig the 2002s. And the big beats, I love the big beats. Don't get me wrong. I go back and forth between those two rides. I just bought an Avidus 22-inch ride, which is beautiful. So my Zildjian collection now, I've got the Avidus ride. I've got an 18-inch Armand thin crash. I got an 18-inch Armand beautiful baby ride, sizzle. I've got the Carope, 22-inch Carope. I got the 19-inch Carope. I got a set of 14-inch Carope hats, set of 14-inch New Beat hats. I've got an A, which I've been really digging, the A 16-inch medium thin crash with Danny Serafin's signature on the bottom of it that I won at a clinic. I've been digging that with the 18. I've done some videos with the Zildjians. The Avidus cymbal is just really a nice cymbal. Really is a nice cymbal. So, I mean, I'm digging it. Welcome Eric from the Drumatic here. No, it's Eric, the other drummer. Sorry, Eric. I thought it was Eric from the Drumatic. Eric F. Drums. Welcome, Eric. I'm just reading. I'm on an iPad. My eyesight is really bad. So, but I don't know. As far as what new gear do I need, I don't know. I've been looking at. I bought one of those Peisty PSTX with the holes in it. Big 20-inch one with the medium, because I read Vinny had one of those. So I bought one of the, and it's actually a very cool cymbal. I think the thinners are different, so I might want to go with a thinner one. I've been looking at a little 10-inch splash with the holes in it, because I have an 11-inch splash. That might be kind of a nice effect thing to throw in, and I could stack them and all kinds of weird stuff. So I don't know. That's a possibility. So let's, But as far as other gear, there's not a lot of other gear I want to get into. I mean, I'd like to find some vintage Simmons drums. I mean, I've been watching Chadwick Perry and Double Deuce drums playing his Simmons drums, and I just keep fantasizing when I was 20 years old and how much 22 and 21, all in my 20s, when I was in the wedding band thing, all I wanted was some Simmons drums on my kit. It would have been a real pain to integrate. And integrating electronics is a pain for a live gig, to be honest. But having a studio, that would be kind of fun. But getting old Simmons gear is way overpriced. It's just not worth it to me. But I would love to do that. I have this SPDX that just sits here, and I don't pull it out enough. I mean, I got like 500 sounds in it, and I don't use it at all, hardly. So maybe I should sell some of this gear off. That's the other thing that happens when you hit 60. You start going, what do I really need here? You know. Apparently, I like cymbals, though. I'm kind of a cymbal nut. All right, let's see what Keith Scott's got to say. No, I'm not blocking you. Here we go. All right, Keith says, a few Ask Girls ago, you mentioned buying a new throw-off for your Black Beauty. Did you have to re-drill holes to get it to fit? No, I did not. I wish I had the drums sitting here, as I don't. But I bought a Dunnett R4 throw-off, and they make one for the Ludwigs. Actually, the Dunnett R4's got adjustable screws. The way it's set up, there's actually you can put the screw holes in and it can fit on. Just kind of slips on, slides on, and then you tighten down on it. But I put an R4 that was specifically designed with the bead in it, because the Black Beauty has that Ludwig bead in it, and it kind of fits the bead really tight on the shell. So I didn't drill any holes. No holes were drilled. And I think it's well worth it. I love Dunnett throw-offs. I'm a big Dunnett throw-off guy, even though I don't have one of those drums sitting next to me, so I can't pull one out to show it to you. But the Dunnett throws are probably the best throw-offs made today. I mean, a lot of guys like the trick throw-off. And I'll tell you, some of the Tama throw-off looks really nice on the high-end drums that they build. That looks like a nice throw. And, of course, the good old Ludwig throw works. What happened with my Black Beauty was I had a millennial throw-off, which is the vintage-looking Black Beauty throw-off, which has this little funky piece where you pull down on it. And there's two little small screws, and one of the screws fell out. And I fixed it, put it back in. And then one day I vacuumed in here, and then I realized, oh, the screw's missing. And I vacuumed up the screw, and I was never going to find it again. And I wrote to Ludwig, and I said, hey, can I get one of these screws? And they never wrote me back. This is the new thing, by the way. These companies now that we've got websites and email, do you think they write you back? They don't give a crap about you. Let me tell you, I gotta announce this. This is an announcement. Thanks for the question, though, Eric. You get the idea. That's why I bought a new throw-off, because Ludwig said, no, I'm not going to help you on this thing. So I said, why should I put another millennial that's going to fall apart on me? Let's put a Dunnett, which was about the same amount of money, by the way. So I bought that. But I got a little rant here. I don't know how many of you guys like Modern Drummer magazine, okay? I've been a great Modern Drummer supporter. I've got 45 years of Modern Drummer magazine on my shelves. And I love Modern Drummer magazine. And I listen to it. I listen to their podcasts and stuff. And I've always read the magazine for years and years. That was where I got most of my source material for like about Jeff Porcaro and other people. Was reading the magazine. I was a faithful reader. The last few years, my reading's been waning like everybody else's because of iPads and electronic media, and magazines are going down the tubes. But I've still been paying my subscription and doing it. So Modern Drummer magazine, I had a subscription till August 2021. I have yet to receive my August 2021 issue of Modern Drummer. I think they've produced one, but they haven't sent it to me. They told me your last issue is August 2021. So I've got one more issue coming. They haven't sent it to me. They sent me July finally in September, but I haven't seen August issue. Modern Drummer subscription, I did not get sent a card saying, hey, do you want to resubscribe? That's why I don't like, what the heck's going on? Where's Modern Drummer magazine? What's going on with this stupid magazine? They don't seem to care about subscriptions anymore. At least the old subscribers. They don't give a flying crap about us. So I've been trying to contact them through websites. I sent Instagram, Facebook. Finally, I got an email back from them after I called their phone number. Nobody would call me back. They said, we usually call within a day. Bull crap. They didn't call within a month. Did not care about me. So I got the information. They owe me one more magazine. But their subscription price went up to $120 a year for a magazine. $10 an issue. It's like, I'm not spending $10 an issue. I'm not doing it, you know? And if you want the electronic copy, which gives you access to all the backlog, apparently, which I've got 45 years of sitting on my shelf, you can get that electronically for $4.95 a month. So I don't know if I'm going to be reading Modern Drummer anymore. I'm kind of bummed about it, to be honest. I got Drumhead magazine. I've been a fan of drum magazines from the beginning, the very beginning. I jumped in 1978. I jumped in, and I missed 77, but I got the 4 first original issues, so I've read those magazines too. And I'm really kind of bummed Modern Drummers just turned into dirt. So I've got a real problem with that. I know I got some more questions here. I'm looking down at. We're going to get to CCM drummers next. But Modern Drummer has really, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. I am so perturbed about Modern Drummer. Apparently the magazine's moved to Boca Raton. It's right down the street. I think it's in the guy's house. He's running out of his house now. David Fangione is the guy that wrote that book, that coffee table book with all the drum sets, and he supposedly had a museum, but I never could in Miami, and I never could find that museum in Miami because I would have went to it if I could have found it. So he has a lot of great ideas, and I really hope the best for those guys, but their customer service right now, they don't give a crap about us. So, but they keep doing interviews and live streams and all kinds of stuff. They got their social media presence. They even put YouTube drummers in the magazine in June when I finally got that issue, which was late. So they seem to be wanting to go the right way, but they can't make any money with it, apparently. So they're just tossing the old guys. They don't give a crap about us. So I did buy the Danny Seraphin issue of Modern Drummer, Legends. They're doing Legend issues now. The Legends is really well produced. It's like almost like a book, but it's $20. For Danny Seraphin, I'll buy it. I'm not going to buy it for every drummer. I don't care about Chad Smith. I really like Kenny Arnoff, but a lot of it's rehashed magazine articles that I've already read. So I don't know what you're buying. You're buying some new pictures, possibly. It's sorry for the rant, but MD's pissed me off. I'm just done with MD. So let's see. Matthew, CCM drummer. What are the top 3 problems that cover drummers are having with YouTube? Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting discussion point for sure. Thank you for that question. I think you're not going to get in the feed. Besides, if you can get your video on YouTube, meaning you're not going to get copyright striked or taken down or blocked in half the countries or whatever else comes at you. I think the next problem is getting into the feed and getting looked at. And unless you've got a massive amount of videos or a couple of videos that really push you out there because they're in their feed, it's hard to get others to see it. So you do find I think most of the new channels that I keep seeing coming up, they basically start doing covers and they say, you know what, let's find other drummers doing cover, and then they start watching them and then they start saying hi to you and then they watch your video and will you subscribe? And I subscribe to all you guys, by the way. I try to subscribe to everybody. I can't say I watch everybody's videos all the way through all the time. Sometimes I do. If you play something really cool, I'll stay in it. If your video sounds good, I'll stay in it. If your drums look cool, I'll stay in it. But there's got to be something that keeps you in it. You know what I mean? And, for me, it's the sound. You guys all know I'm a kind of a nut with my sound. My drum sounds and my drum covers sound a certain way. And that's what I get the most compliments about. I know you guys aren't looking to watch some fat guy playing drums. I mean, that's not it. I do have some cool kit configurations. I constantly change that up, but I think it's the sound. It sounds like the record, even though I'm not playing exact like Matthew would say. Even though I'm pretty darn close sometimes, Matthew, I want to tell you that. So, but what other problems are YouTube drummers having? I think there's just too many of us. I think every kid drummer that doesn't play to every experienced drummer that's incredibly talented is on YouTube. Studio guys like Mike Baird's channel. Let's talk about Mike Baird. I like Mike Baird. Great drummer. I've mentioned him before. I think he's still got 300 subscribers. Join Mike's Drum Covey. Now, I got to admit, he's a little corny, and I'm not, he is a little corny. But I watch him, see what drum he's going to pull out, and what little story he's going to talk about. He's got some corny little things that move around and sounds. Whoosh, takes the card out, Cool editing. He's got somebody editing it for him, or he likes editing for some reason. But the bottom line to the whole thing is he's a pro drummer. He's been on like a bazillion gold records and platinum records and stuff I love, music I love. And he can't get 1,000 subscribers. Okay? So he doesn't have his social media together. If you're a guy that's got that much stuff on your resume and you can't get the following, it's because you don't have the right social media presence. Now, that's why making a 5,000 subscriber mark is such a big deal, I guess, on YouTube for me in the drum cover community, is because somehow I did this without anybody helping me. I didn't have any social media companies. I didn't have anybody pushing my videos. I just did this by just doing it continuously. Bang, 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 bang. So if you're putting one video out a week, I'm telling you, you're not going to get much traction. I learned that the first year I was in it. They said if you were going to get to 1,000 videos, was 1,000 views, 1,000 subscribers was the goal, and 4,000 view hours was the goal in 2018. If you didn't get there, you couldn't monetize. By the way, I monetize. You know that because you might have watched a commercial to get in here. I don't make a lot of money off YouTube, but I've made about $800 off YouTube over the years. So I have enough monetizable stuff to make some money once in a while. But that's not why I do this, because I'm not making millions of dollars off this stuff. If you're not doing original content, you don't make any money. But what I am trying to say is that the reason I've been pushing so many videos out is because that keeps you in the stream more than anything. But I still am not getting the traction I used to get. A year ago, I was getting more for putting my videos out every day. Now, sometimes I don't even get 100 people watching my videos. And 3 years ago, I'd get 150 immediately. So either I'm oversaturating you guys hate me now and don't want to watch my videos, which is possible, or there's just too many of us. So that's the other problem, I think. So I think I hit them all. Let's see who else we got. Chadwick, Double Deuce Drums, thank you for being here. Let's see if I got anything else. Robbie Rock Drummer. Earl, what's your view on cymbal sizes for recording versus live? I used to think smaller cymbals were cool, but now I'm coming to realize that it really comes down to your room. Like, I was trying to record with some big cymbals back in not in the 80s, in the 2000s when I started my studio. I did my wife's album from 2001 to 2005. And I was in an 11 by 11 bedroom. I wasn't in this studio. And I recorded that whole album in an 11 by 11 bedroom. And had this 22-inch ride cymbal that just was gigantic. It was a Sabian HHX Evolution 22-inch ride. They didn't even make them. It was custom made for me. A friend of mine who was an endorser got me one of them. And it was too much. I couldn't put it on the record. It was too big. I had a 19-inch ride that worked better. So the size of your room is going to affect the cymbals you're using. I have a big enough room now where a 20-inch crash is fine. An 18-inch crash is fine. It sounds full and big. I've got a couple small. I've got like a 14-inch crash, a 15-inch crash. I use the 15 once in a while. I've used the 14 very rarely. But I used to use them all the time for a while there. Those were my cymbals. I had a 14-inch AAX Studio Crash and a 15-inch AAX Studio Crash. And then I got a 19-inch AAX Studio Crash, but it was too big. So I couldn't use that on the record either. So I tried to go bigger in the 2000s. It wasn't working. Then I moved into this space and bigger cymbals worked. So I think space affects the size of your cymbals. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but it does to me. Now, I love 22-inch ride cymbals now, but back in the 80s and 90s, it was smaller ride cymbals. 20s were kind of common. Gad was using an 18-inch ride for a long time. I ended up with a 19-inch medium heavy HH Sabian ride that was my main ride cymbal for years. I mean, 20-something years. I rarely pull that out now because it's a different sound. My Sabian sounds so different than my Pisces, it's not even funny. And I think the other thing I dig is thinner cymbals. That's what I got with the AAXs. They were thin. The studio AAXs were thinner. Now AAXs are thin and medium and heavy now, but back in the day, if you wanted thin, you went studio. If you wanted medium, you went stage, and then they had like the extremes were the heavy ones. So I never like heavy crash cymbals. I'm just not into that. I'm into like thinner crash cymbals. So I think that has a lot to do with it too, is the thickness of the cymbal and what it sounds like. So there's a lot there, but I use my live cymbals and my studio cymbals in live gig situations. So my church gig, I found that my Pisces just cut through the room a little bit too much. I've used them there. I love them there, but they cut through a little too much. So to keep the control thing down, I usually use the darker cymbals, the Zildjians. And I'm really digging the Avidus, but I've used that Crope for years there, and it doesn't build up too much. It doesn't cut the room too badly. And it's a small, mostly concrete block brick bottom, but it's got like the wooden top, so it's got the high ceilings, and that changes things, you know. So, all right, let's see what Dirk said. Dirk said, Coolio, electronics a pain, but that's my current practice setup. Well, that's, you know, an SPDX is actually a very cool tool. If you're a guy like Chadwick Perry, double deuce drums, he knows how to use it. You want to watch a guy using one, that's the guy to watch. I'll tell you that right now. I kind of hack with it a little bit, but he plays all his percussion with his left hand, and I mean, forget it. Awesome, Chad. I love what you do with that thing. I wish I could do that. Let's see. Lori Jones has got one. Diecast versus triple flange hoops. Thoughts? Gretsch USA Custom versus Brooklyn. Well, let me say this about the Brooklyn versus the USA Customs. I would love to have a Brooklyn kit to play, so that's the first thing I'd like to say. But I think the Brooklyn hoop, the 302 hoop they got, I've played a couple drums with the 302 hoop on it. It actually is very cool. I almost bought a Brooklyn snare drum once. They had a steel snare drum for like $200, I guess it was. And I almost bought one of them. I'm not a big steel. I don't like steel drums for the most part. I had some early in my life, and the only one I ever liked was the one that came with the Yamaha stage kit. The stage, not stage custom. Yamaha stage kit from the 80s. And I had one of those snare drums for years. I used it. It was a beautiful steel-sounding steel drum. And it sounded good. It had triple flange hoops on it. I love that drum. I don't know why I gave that away. I still to this day don't know what was in my brain that day when I gave it away. I know I had a couple Noble Coolies at the time and things like that, so maybe that's what got in my brain. But as far as diecast versus triple flange hoops, I think diecasts give you a more focused sound. My Gretsch drums have got diecast. Mine are regular Gretsch, you know, Jasper shell, gray sealer in the middle, and you know, insides. They just sound great. You know, they tune up right. But I think that you've got a more opened up sound with the Brooklyn. I think triple flange are a little more open, so the sound is a little more opened up. I think it's more contained with the diecast. So it's really what kind of shell they're on. And I think the reason why the diecast works on the Gretsch shell is because it is not a thick shell; it's a thin shell. And that's what makes Gretsch drums what they are: 6-ply, thin shell, maple popular shell, or maple gumwood shell is what they technically call it. It's a gumwood in the middle. But that shell right there works really well with diecast. I don't think you get Gretsch drums to sound like Gretsch drums unless you got that. The Brooklyn's got their own little thing with that same shell and the triple. It's just a little more opened up. So I think that's the thing I would say about that. But other than that, I mean, I think triple flange hoops have their place. I mean, Ludwig drums without triple flange hoops would not be Ludwig drums. Ludwig drums with thin triple flange hoops, not the 2.3, but the 1.6 or 1.7, whatever they are, mil. Those are the drums that really are opened up, you know, and they got a thicker shell. Old Ludwig drums from the 60s have got that thick, either mahogany popular mahogany or maple popular maple 3-plies with the reinforcing rings. Those drums just sound real. I had a set of Club Dates, Blue Sparkle Club Date kit that I just love that kit. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on that. You know, it's just a different sound. You got to know what sound you're going after. But diecast hoops don't sound good on snares all the time. It's a certain snare drum that works on, and then some snares they don't work on. So you really got to play the drum to know. Like a Noble Cooley without a die-cast hoop is kind of weird to me. But now Noble Cooley's making a lot of drums without die-cast hoops because Noble Cooley can't get the die-cast hoops they used to get. So that's why they've gone to triple flange. It wasn't anything. I actually talked to the guy at Noble Cooley, and he told me, yeah, that's why we go into the triple flange hoops. So triple flange is more money, a lot more money. So, all right, let's see what else we got here. Dirk said, luckily I don't know the YouTube guys you've mentioned so far. You're right. There's a ton. Too easy to get overloaded. I'm about 3 or 4 drum channels regular watch. Otherwise, too much. Dirk, I understand. And you're going to pick your drum channels you're going to watch based on what you like about the drummer, you know. I've got subscriptions to like 500 drum channels. You know, guys are doing drums. So I love you guys as people, you know, and I try to drop in when I possibly can, you know, and you don't, not everybody posts anymore all the time. I miss some of the old guys, the guys that used to be here. Like Jeff Holden posted something the other day. He's called The Music Room now. It was from a concert he went to. It wasn't him playing drums. I miss Jeff playing drums, but I miss some of my old friends, you know, when we were starting out together doing things. It was kind of, we would all like talk about each other's videos. Claus, nice to have you, Claus, today. Absolutely. It's all about the room regarding cymbal sizes. Yeah, thanks, Claus. I agree. Let's see what Dirk said. Plus, diecast looks like a tank in a good way. Yeah, they do. Definitely do. No doubt about it. Keith Scott said, all right, wasn't a fan of steel stairs until I got into the super lights. Great drums for the money, too. Yep, super lights are a great drum for the money. I'll show you one other one, and I've got it on my kit today. This is the Ludwig Black Magic, 8x14. It's brass shell. Just put a new ambassador on it and this funky little muffler, kind of a Nashville muff. This is actually my granddaughter crocheted me something, and she found it in a drawer one day, and she said to me, Poppy, why is that in the drawer? It's like, well, I don't know what to do with it, Maddie, you know. And then I thought about it. I said, I wonder if I could use it as a muffler. So it used to be bigger, it would come out too far, and I would get stuck in it once in a while. So I've kind of taped it up and kind of drop it on in that kind of Nashville thing. So it kind of works. But this drum cracks. I got this for like $228. It was what they called used. It was actually B stock. They didn't really name it. They couldn't sell it if they didn't say used on it on eBay at the time, that drum shop. But it was actually brand stinking new. Came out of the box, never touched the head. I've been buying a lot of stuff on eBay that just goes out B stock. So over the years, great way to do it. But yeah, the super lights, I've never bought one, but I've seen them and I've looked at them. And again, I'd rather have the aluminum. So, and I don't even have a Superphonic anymore. I got a Acrolite hanging around. A friend gave me an Acrolite. He said, you need to have one of these. He handed it to me. He said, here, take this. So my friend Ken came in one day. Here, you can have it. I picked it up for $20 at the Goodwill. I said, okay, it was a mess. He said, you'll clean it up. You'll fix it up. So I did. All right. Let's see what else we got. Lori Jones. Here in the UK, Premier steel drums used to be the go-to. Agree, the super lights are great. You know, Lori, that's true. You know, my favorite Premier drum was the Premier 2000, which I think was chrome over brass, if I'm not mistaken. And I had one of those for a while until the darn throw-off broke. And then I put a Ludwig on it, and I gave it to a friend. Just handed it to him. Said, here you go, Steve. Have this. You need this. So I gave him a drum. But, yeah, Premier made some great drums. So anyhow, guys, you got any more questions? Your questions make the show. I've kind of ranted off a few times today here. I went off on Modern Drummer, talked a little bit about YouTube, talked about direction. You guys got anything else for me? I mean, Claus. Okay, let's see what you got, Claus. I love the Black Magic. Great value. You know, the good thing about the Black Magic is it's a brass drum. It's not a Black Beauty, but it is a brass drum. It's a nice brass drum. It really does sound nice. And they didn't make an 8x14 when I bought this drum. Now they have an 8x14 Black Beauty. I don't think I would have spent $1,000 for a Black Beauty, 8x14. 8x14 is such a specialized size. I mean, it only works on certain things. Some things I just go, no. But I have brought this to church, especially the other church I was at. I brought it a few times, had a bigger stage. And this thing, guys love this drum. They just love this drum. They go, that thing's got, and it's got crack. It's not like it doesn't have any crack to it. It does have some really nice crack to it. So if you guys can't ask me a question, I'm going to ask you a question. Maybe you guys can help me. What drum covers would you like to see me do in the future? Doesn't mean I'm going to do them, by the way, but I'd love to see what you think I should be doing. If you guys have anything, send me your suggestions. Now, a lot of guys do that. A lot of guys give me suggestions without me asking them to do that. So I'm asking you guys on this live stream for a minute here. But definitely something I'm thinking about. Like, what should I do next? Oh, that does bring up something. I'm going to come back to that. Let's see. Lori Jones said this. Recently bought a vintage 2002 20-inch Crash. Love it, but it has no serial number. That is vintage if it doesn't no serial number. It doesn't have I guess the logo's kind of stamped in there, 2002, and it's black label or not black label either, just no label on it. Let me know, Claus. Let me know, Lori. Let me know what it is. So, I do want to talk about drum covers in another way, and I'm going to come to Keith's question in a second. But one of the things that I'm running into now is I'm starting to realize, like, some of my drum covers that I've done in the past, I'm not really thrilled with. I ran into one of those a couple weeks ago. Good morning, Rich Raw Dog. I have not seen you, Rich, in a long time. Thank you for showing up. You said you were going to come on today. It's very early for you out there in Seattle. I mean, thanks for being on. I wish I could push this to 11 Eastern time, but I can't because I'm going to go do yoga with my wife. So it's kind of a thing. And then by the time I get to the middle of the afternoon, I'll get nothing done for today. That's part of my problem. And this is my most productive drum cover day is usually on Saturdays, even though I'm giving up the whole morning. So it'll be all in the afternoon today. So a couple weeks ago, I realized I've got some well, actually, here's what happened. I don't know if I've even released this video. I may have. It's a video by Little River band called Cool Change. So I didn't think I did I didn't even think I did this song. And I went in the studio and I cut the thing. I cut it and I was looking for video for the green screen because it was in the concert tom kit. And I put in Cool Change and nothing came up, but I found a video with like dolphins and crap going on, it's jumping out of the thing and look kind of cool. It's only background, doesn't really matter. But then when I got done after I recorded that on my iPad, sent it over to I sent it to my iMac, and then I put it in my Final Cut. I looked down at my iPad, I said, Cool Change. I kept going through the videos, and then I saw a video of me playing Cool Change. I was like, crap, I already played this song. And I've been really trying not to repeat myself. I don't want to repeat songs I've done. So I've been really working hard at finding like new stuff all the time. Like, let's get inspired to play something else, right? So I realized, I didn't mind what I did on the first one, but I really liked what I did on this one. So I said, I'm going to call it Revisited. And then I looked at Old Days. That came up in some feed of mine. And I looked at Chicago Old Days. And I realized they played on a 4-piece kit right here. It was fine. But the cool thing about Old Days is it has all these toms in it and stuff. I think it might have been the first time Danny was playing a huge kit. So anyhow, I went and recut it with the concert tom kit. That got a lot of good feedback. I've got a couple more revisits coming out. I think Cool Change hasn't come out yet. If it hasn't, I've released it on Instagram, but not here on YouTube, I don't think. If I did, then it already came out. But you're going to see more revisits. Songs I really love that I really need to play again. Because, maybe I didn't do such a great job at it. So that's one of those things, when you start to think about. So, but let's see what Rich. Let's see. Keith Scott said something here. Been leery about the brass drums ever since I've had a Pearl free floater brass piccolo. Totally makes sense. You got the nickname Hammer from that drum. That's right. Well, I would love to get a Pearl free floater brass piccolo if I can find one of those again. I definitely would take one of those. So let's see. Rich says, yes, it's early on Saturday. Wouldn't want you to miss your yoga with the wife. No, my wife doesn't want me to miss it either. I need the yoga. Need it more than you guys will ever know, probably. So, or maybe I'll know someday, but you don't need to get to my age yet. All right, Lori Jones has a 2002 stamp, black label inside, size, pasty on the inside. Looks good. Looks old. Yeah, that's cool, Lori. That's an old one. If it doesn't have a serial number, it's an old one. So that's definitely very, very cool. So, let's see. CCM drummer. Do you know what year Zildjian started serializing and black stamping their symbols? All right. The black stamp goes back to before the serial numbers. One of the ways I know it's an 80s symbol is when you start seeing the black Zildjian across the top of the symbol, not the bottom, but the top. And it starts showing up on the bottom, but also showed up on the top. And I'm going to give you a little something about Zildjian that I know. I've been to the Zildjian factory, number one. And number two, I met a guy that had a drum shop, and he told me about what happened to the Zildjian cymbals from the 60s and 70s and 50s. See, when I was at the Zildjian factory going through the factory tour, Avidus or Avidus Zildjian used to come into the factory, and they had that secret formula. Well, there's a pinch of silver in there. And the silver was always different based on how much change he had in his pocket, because they were making silver dollars back then. So he would throw silver dollars into there. So if he had extra silver dollars in his pocket, he'd throw it into the mixture, and they'd make up a batch of symbols. So the symbols back in the 60s, 50s, into the early 70s were still being made with that kind of like, the formula was sometimes really had a lot of silver, maybe a little silver. It was different all the time. Consistency started to happen after Avidus died. They retooled the factory in the 80s. That's when Avidus died, like 79. The brothers split the business up probably almost immediately after Dad died. And all of a sudden, the symbols got consistent. They had less something in them. 80s Zildjians just sound harsh to me. I have a few of my son-in-laws in here, and they just sound really, really harsh. That's when they started putting that black label on it. And that was pre-serial number. Now, serial numbers came in the 90s. I think it was like 92 or 3 is when they started serial numbering everything. And their serial number system is really kind of funky too, because it uses letters. So they use the first letter for the number 0 is A. And then the number 1 is B. Then C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. I think it goes to K. So when we started with the 90s, whatever that 9th letter is of the alphabet, that was the first letter in the serial number. And then whatever year it was would be the next letter. So you would have 2 letters, and it would be denoting the, the 90 would be the 9, so it would be whatever that letter was. Then if it was 2, it would be A, B, C. So if it was, I think it was something like, early ones were like K2 or something like that. When we got to 0, which was 2000, was a 0 year, they basically used the last letter L, and now they're at the A's because we're in the ones, the ones or whatever. Anyhow, long and the short of it, they got some crazy lettering thing. It started in the 90s, the serial numbers. Black labels started in the 80s, and usually when I see 80 A Zildjian symbols, I just don't really like them. I'd rather buy a 70s or something that's different. So I'm really a snob when it comes to this stuff. So, all right, let's see what else we got. That was a great cover. Oh, thank you for the comment, Claus, about old days. And Rich Raw Dog says, nothing wrong with remaking covers. Thank you for that, Rich. Yeah, I think sometimes you need to. Like, I will tell you this is the truth about me. If you guys have been watching me for years now, I think in some ways I've gotten better. In other ways, maybe I've gotten worse. I think my sound has gotten way better. I also know I'm way more in the pocket now. Like when I do things, I try to stay in the pocket. I've got less chops. I don't think I might have had more chops back 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I am working on that. I'm practicing a little bit. I teach some lessons, so it's forced me to practice a bit. But I think I'm playing better than I've played my whole life in some respects. I mean, I'm playing the way I want to play better than I ever played. I mean, I'm very aware how studio drummers cut these songs. I mean, one of the things, I was a constant boom, boom guy, boom, 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 boom. And most studio cut tracks got the one with just a one hit. It just boom. You know, that's not always, but the solid one. And I've learned where my tendencies are. I kind of push the one. I'm always pushing the one with the kick drum, which is kind of weird, but that's how I hear things. It's kind of my lope. So believe it or not, when the time's kind of funky, like these 70s tunes where the time goes like all this, I hear the bass player and I kind of lock with the bass player and I kind of move with it. But when you're playing on a gridded click track, no inspiration drum tracks like I do to record for people, I know what they're going to do to me. They're going to fix those things they don't like, and they're going to move me right on the grid, on the ones and stuff. And I'm just kind of used to that now. That's the way it works. So, but I think drum covers, I'm playing some really good ones. So going back on some of the ones I didn't like will be a good idea. All right. Let's Dance, David Bowie. You know, that's been one I've been wanting to try. Let's Dance by David Bowie. Been wanting to try it. It's an old, I think it's either Tony Thompson or Omar Hakim played that one. That would be a good one. You know, the funny thing is, you hear me playing songs that I love. That's the thing. Believe it or not, Bowie has not been my inspiration, even though I know the music. I listen to it a little bit on the radio. He's never been a guy that, like, I'm going to try a Rolling Stones song this week. Charlie Watts died a couple weeks ago. But I'm going to try maybe a couple Rolling Stones songs. Not because I haven't played Rolling Stones songs before. I mean, my first band I was in, we were playing Rolling Stones. We played Jumping Jack Flash and Brown Sugar and, you know, Honky Tonk Woman. We were playing those stuff as kids, you know what I mean? But I've never been like a Rolling Stones guy. You know, Charlie never did it for me. I got more into Ringo, I'll be honest. Beatles, Ringo, that's kind of my thing. I always liked the way Ringo played. Let's just put it that way. Ringo was very creative. Charlie is Charlie, and Charlie's got his thing. And I rest his soul, man. Great drummer for what he did. He brought the Rolling Stones would not be the Rolling Stones with any other drummer. So that's the way I feel about that. So let's see what else she said. I bought an old PV Radio Pro over the phone, $80. Wow. Was it just a snare drum or was it the whole kit? About a week ago. Taking the kids to go pick up next weekend, about an hour south of Seattle. Oh, cool. You're from Seattle too, Dirk? You're on the West Coast? Wow, you're up early. Thanks for being here today. Appreciate that. That's a cool kit though. Lori Jones says, thank you, Claus. Okay. Oh yeah, Claus got hurt, so keep Claus in your prayers, man. Any tips on playing one-handed, hey? There's a video of me playing one-handed. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the video of me playing The Best That You Can Do, where I dropped the stick and I had to go one-handed with the right hand and got through the song. That's kind of a fun video. I kind of like that one. It's a cool stick drop. I should find it and put it on Instagram. By the way, let me talk about Instagram for a second. I'm finding Instagram to be just a total freaking waste, by the way. I can't get any traction on Instagram. And Instagram is worse than YouTube. When you were asking me the 3 bad things about YouTube, I mean, it's tough on YouTube, but YouTube doesn't make you feel as bad as Instagram. It's like nobody watches anything on Instagram. Let's not kid ourselves. We just go like this. We flip through crap. You know, I stop on certain guys that I see that are playing. I want to listen to a little bit of it. You know what I mean? I looked at my statistics on one video I had a lot of views on. I got like less than 2 seconds. I mean, nobody's watching anything anymore. So Instagram's kind of a waste. I can't get over 800 followers on Instagram. Okay. I can't get over 700 followers. Forget about it. I'm following almost 800. I'm less than 800 by a couple. And I can't get over 7. I've committed to myself that if I get near 800 again, I will start throwing people away again. Because I should not have me be following more people than are watching me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a snob about myself. Maybe I think I'm good enough. I got 1,300 videos on there. Doesn't freaking matter on Instagram, you know. So I find Instagram to be a freaking waste of time, and I'm starting to think maybe I need to just toss the whole thing away. Facebook's a waste of time. I don't really post in the groups. You guys know that. Every once in a while I'll throw something in, but I don't want to bother I don't put my Facebook, my Facebook's kind of for my family, so I don't really use it for promoting Drum Channel, you know what I mean? So all my promotion comes from YouTube, to be honest. So let's see what questions we got here. Lori Jones said, I'd love to hear some Creedence and Train covers. Train, that'd be interesting. That's really pushing me into the 90s. I just did Natalie Merchant. I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but I really like chick singers, so I have a tendency to pick chick singers a lot of times. Most of you guys probably like guy singers, but I don't know. I got this thing for chick singers. I married a chick singer, so I don't know. Maybe that's my thing, but I like girl voices. I just do. So most of the 90s guy voice things didn't do it for me. And Train was never one of my favorites, so that's why I picked Natalie Merchant to do. But I need to do some 90s probably. That's a good point. Rick Allen, Def Leppard should have some help. You are correct about that. That is a one-handed drummer. Sarcasm. Let's see. Welcome, Sarcasm. I'm wanting to try some E604s. Okay. But I'm afraid they won't work with my Gretsch suspension mounts. Do you know? Yes, I do know, by the way. You have to get it on the rim of the drum, and you've got to work around the suspension mounts. Now, I think the Gretsch suspension mounts have got that flat spot is what you're talking about, because I had one of those once as a rims mount. I have traditional rims mounts on my drums. Nah, I'm not going to take it apart. I don't think I can get it over to the drum, and I can't really bring it to you, I don't think. Maybe I can. Let's see. Let me see what I got here. Okay. That's my E604. You see how it's on the rim of the drum? That's where it's at. So the rims mount is right here, and it actually comes up on it a little bit, but it stays mostly down. That makes sense. So anyhow, that's what I do. So it works on my Gretsch drums, but if it's got that flat spot, it probably is not going to work. So I don't think it would work on the flat spot mount. Is that helpful? I mean, unfortunately, I'm going to have that mess with you later. But anyhow, I hope that helps. I mean, you could, let me say this about them. E604s sound great. They're great sounding drum mic. So even if you can't use the clips, it's worth putting it on a stand. Buy a couple stands and buy the pack, and keep the mounts because you may use them someday on something else. But or on the snare drum. Like if you got a stand for your snare drum, clip it to the snare drum and use the clip. Even though I find the clips are a little close sometimes. The best way to adjust mics on the drum kit, you have to get it sometimes away from the drums a little bit to get the sound. So my favorite clamp on clamp is the LP mic clamp with the with that special clamp they use, the claw. That's the best one out of all of them. But this works for my kit. I got it on the floor tom over here, so it does work. So Rich is in Spanaway, Washington, so that must be near Seattle. I just clump you over. Everybody's in Seattle and Washington. Is there any other city? There is another city. It's Spokane. I've actually been to Spokane, Washington. I did a gig in Spokane, Washington once. That's another story for another day. Let's see. All right, Rich, very cool, man. Thank you. Oh, okay, you guys are talking to one another. That's what this is all about, man. All right. Claus says, you'll be playing like never before in January, Lori. Cool. Yes, you will. All right, let's see what else we got here. I'm trying to find a question or a comment that I want to comment on. All right, best way to mount your toms when you have an undrilled bass drum. I have tried various ways of mounting a 10 by 13 on a cymbal stand, but finding it topples easily. Lori Jones. You need a bigger bass. That's all I would say to you. That I mean, I've got my concert toms on a big bass. I think it may be actually an LP conga stand, but I have a big bass Yamaha, and if the bass is wide enough, your toms won't topple over. When you put two toms on a stand, you need a really strong stand to do that, or you need a rack. I do have my son-in-law's drum rack that I've been using on my concert tom kit forever, so it's almost like it's my drum rack, but it's really not. It's my son-in-law's drum rack. But he uses my studio like it's his anyhow, so that's fine with me. He doesn't care I use his drum rack. As long as we have the gear when we need it for whatever we're doing, he's fine with that. So, but yeah, you have to have a good cymbal stand. The other thing is you got to point the foot towards where you're putting the tom. So if you got three legs, make sure the leg is facing you and the tom's facing you, and the back two legs are on the back side. Otherwise, it'll topple over forward. So not a lot you can do there. All right, let's see. Rich said, I agree on Instagram. Earl, nobody seems to click when you put link in bio. Oh yeah, nobody clicks that. Link in bio, forget that one. Ain't gonna happen. Nobody clicks on anything on Instagram. They just kind of scroll through you and then you get a view for it. I mean, the most views I had on my most viewed Instagram video was an Aretha Franklin video I did, which was 800. It was 800 views. Feels like a natural woman. I don't know that I had a pink background on the green screen and Aretha singing and me there playing it. Bop. On the concert, and it worked. Really was beautiful. Worked out perfect, and then people liked that one. You know what I mean? But the other video that I got that had the most quote unquote views was some kind of what do they call those? They're not TikTok, but it's their version of TikTok. You know, I did it a couple times. I did it with Fox on the Run by Sweet, and I did. I put what does the fox say in the video, and I had like this crazy video that I did, and I had like 4,000 people watched it in like an hour. So I don't know what feed it got into that made that happen, but it never happens again. And now, since they changed Instagram in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and whatever it is, oh my gosh, you can't even find hashtag anymore. You got to go searching your keyboard to find hashtag to hashtag everything. Such a freaking waste. Whatever. I swear, Mark Zuckerberg and his crew don't know what the hell they're doing. They are useless. So Instagram's a waste. What a freaking waste of time that is. I'm like going, why post anything? Except I've met a couple really cool people that follow me on Instagram who I'm friends with now, like George Flutis. And he's a very encouraging guy. I love George's playing. You probably have seen George with what's it called? Bonhomology. He does all the Led Zeppelin stuff. He is incredible, and freaking incredible drummer. Well worth your time watching his videos, okay? But he comments on my videos. We go back and forth chat. He's the only reason why Instagram means anything to me. And a couple people like that. I have a few friends on Instagram that make me stay on Instagram. But other than that, I don't know. What am I doing there? What is going on Instagram? It's useless. Nobody cares. I know they cares about choppers. I'm just not into that. So I agree with you, Rich. Like I have a presence there. I just can't get any traction there. So I may need to stop wasting my time. That's what I'm saying. You're welcome. Sarcasm. No problem. Rich says this. Okay. How many times have you seen Chicago live? Obviously, you have done a lot of research on Danny's drumming. Okay. Live Chicago. I saw Chicago in 1977 with Terry Kath before he died. Probably about 2 or 3 months before he died. And it was a Chicago 11 tour. They played 3 hours, Madison Square Garden. I was in the nosebleeds, but it was worth it. I even had to take my mom to it to get to that concert. I was 17. My mom would not let me go to a concert at 17. She said, no. So she sat there with everybody passing the joints around her. It was kind of funny. Well, not that I was doing, I've never done pot in my whole life, but I wasn't doing it that night with mom sitting next to me. And the same row as my 3 friends I brought along with me to the concert. That's a funny story. If you think about your first concert. That wasn't technically my first concert because I went and saw the Carpenters and the Garden State Arts Center a couple times and a couple other shows at the Garden State Arts Center. But the first concert I wanted to go to was Chicago, and I saw Chicago. Thank God I got to see him with Terry Kath one time. The next time I saw Chicago was in Central Park, 1978, right before college, and I went and saw them when they came back after Terry died. I think it might have been their first show after Terry died. So that was pretty heavy duty. And then I saw them the next year at Aqueduct Racetrack for a weekend. A friend of mine, we stayed at a hotel. I guess I was 19 at the time. I think we were in the same hotel they were in, but I never saw the guys with Orleans. And we saw 2 shows there with Chicago. It was great. And then I saw them again in 1982 with Danny Serafin at Radio City with my wife, my future wife at the time. And that's when she said to me, you play a lot like this guy, don't you? I said, yeah, I guess I do. So that was kind of a realization. And then I saw him again with Tris Imboden in 2005 with Earth, Wind, and Fire when Earth, Wind, and Fire smoked them off the stage. Literally smoked them off the stage as far as I was concerned. And they weren't the same band, and they didn't have Danny. And I love Tris, though. I love Tris Imboden's. I love Wally's playing, too. Wilfredo Reyes playing. Great drummers. Nothing about the drummers. But Chicago's not Chicago anymore, so I did get to see them during the prime, Actually, the 82 concert, they were just releasing Chicago 16, the David Foster stuff. So Bill Champlin was on the gig, and Chris Pinnock was playing guitar, and it was the beginning, And Pete Cetera was still in the band, too. So, but, yeah, I've seen him a few times. I was a huge Chicago fan right up to about 17. And then 18, I bought the album, and I don't think I even opened it, to be honest. I may have opened it, listened to it 1 or 2 times. 19, I never bought. 20, I never bought. And then Danny was out of the band. I was like, well, that's life, Incredible. All right. Claus. Let's see what Claus had to say here. Instagram stories. Oh, yeah, that's what that was. That's correct. It was called an Instagram story. No, it wasn't a story. No, it was that other thing they did. What do they call that thing that when people dance around, and they got, is it TikTok? There's something. No, I do Instagram stories. That I do for my friends too, Lori Jones. Yes, George is a fantastic drummer. I'd love to get George on this show someday. Maybe one day. Claus says, I 100% agree on the Instagram thing. I feel like Facebook, Instagram is kind of over on the whole. I think they are. Matter of fact, I heard Facebook is talking about rebranding itself, like changing the name. If that happens, they're really in bad shape. So, because they can't get the kids on that thing. So, and Instagram's not getting better. So they better do something. You guys got any more questions today? I've been rambling pretty good for 1 hour and 13 minutes today. And I still got 7 people. Thank you all for watching and taking time to hang with me. And all the people that showed up, Bill and Rich and Claus and Lori and Keith and Sarcasm and Dirk. I mean, I really do appreciate it, And Chadwick was on for a few minutes. And, do appreciate you guys being in, and Matthew CCM drummer. I mean, thank you all for taking the time to show up, because that really does make my Saturday worth it. I am planning on doing a Ask Girl Anything soon. Thanks, Bill. I'm planning on doing an Ask Girl Anything in the future. I got some questions that I will answer. It'll probably come out after I hit 5,000 subscribers. Yay. But, We'll talk more about that when I get to that. But until then, I thought it'd just be a nice touch base. A couple of you guys have been asking for this, so thank you for showing up. And I appreciate all you guys, and thank you for watching my videos. And everybody, have a great Saturday. And I'll let you know when I'm going to do another one. Probably sometime next month we'll do one of these too. So, everybody. And by the way, Matthew CCM drummer will be on the show one day. He's moving down near me. I'm going to probably have him live in the studio, so that ought to be interesting. So, anyhow, guys, thank you all. Have a great day, man. See you guys. Bye.